Hallelujah. Why don't we lift our hands and worship the Lord tonight? We love you, Jesus. We love you, Lord. Sometimes we get so caught up in our beat and we get caught up in our song that sometimes we forget about the message. Sometimes we forget about all the things that we've been taught and all the things that God's given us, all the things that God's imparted unto us. A while back, God gave me a song when I was in a situation that had been so long since it seemed like that God had talked to me. And I was so blessed. I'd got so much. And I'm thinking, why do I even need to do this? And I was so convicted by that thought. And God finally touched me and he ministered through me through a song. And he said, I've given you so much. I did so much for you. What about the nails? What about the debt that I had? What about the price that I paid? Don't you sit on a pew that you didn't pay for? Sit in a sanctuary that you didn't buy? In an altar that you didn't have a burden for? And tell me that there's no reason to live for me. He said, I paid the price for you. And this is the song that God gave us. There's no reason to live for him today. You say that there's no reason. You say that there's no to live for him today. You say that there's no reason. You have to live that way. You say that there's no reason to lift your voice in praise. You say, what has he done for me anyway? But what about the nails they drove in his hands? What about the spear they thrust deep into his side? And what about the thorns they crushed in his brow? What about all the pain that he went through? Don't you know he did it all for you? So what about the nail? You say that there's no reason to walk that narrow way. You say that there's no reason to give your life away. You say that there's no reason to bow your knees and pray. You say, what has he done for me anyway? But what about the nails they tore in his hands? What about the spear they thrust deep into his side? What about the thorns they crushed in his brow? What about the blood that ran down from his side? And what about the cross they hung him on to die? What about all the pain that he went through? Don't you know he did it all for you? So what about the nails? What about the thorns? What about the cross? Why don't you think about it tonight? What about the nails? side. And what about the cross? They hung him on to die. What about all the pain that he went through? Don't you know he did it all for you? What about the nails they drove in his hands? What about the spear that thrust deep into his side? And what about the thorns that crushed in his brow? What about the blood that ran out from his side? And what about the cross? They hung him on to die. What about all the pain that he went through? Don't you know he did it all for you? So what about the nails? What about the thorns? What about the cross? Oh, I gotta have him in my life. What about the nails? What about the thorns? What about the cross? What about the nails? What about those nails? What about the nails? What about the they drove in his hand? What about the spear that thrust deep into his side? And what about the thorns that crushed in his brow? What about the blood that ran out from his side? And what about the cross? They hung him on to die. What about all the pain that he went through? Don't you know he did it all for you? So what about the nails? What about those nails?